Hello, lovely human beings. I didn't realize I was recording. So I finished the next journal in the 7 journals that I was commissioned to make. This is the 4th one. And this is a quilt/sewing journal. The next one after this is another Victorian Christmas, so I probably won't do a video for that. Because it'll be very similar to the other one that I did. So, anyway. So I found this old quilt block at the antique mall. And, I glued it onto a cereal box. I think it was, Raisin Bran. Anyway, I just put some lace and trims on here, and I had this really cool doily with these 3 holes in it, and I just sort of looped this ribbon through and and tied a bow. And this is an old piece of embroidery that I tacked down with some size 15 seed beads. And then I made this fan and put that down. I made the yo-yo. And I put this charm of the scissors and some more ribbon. The ribbon's a little too far off to the left, in my opinion, but I'm not going to sweat it. So, anyway, yeah. So, the closure's just a piece of, I don't know what this is, some kind of trim. And, so this is a quilting and sewing themed, let's see if I'm in camera, journal. And, you know, I always do vintage, so it's got a lot of vintage images of women with their quilts. This is one of them. I love this. Unless I say otherwise, these all just came from, like, the internet, but there are quite a few in here for my private collection. I thought this was cute. The Edmonton exhibition in 1909. It's an entry form to, like, enter something you want to exhibit. And I thought, you know, well, you would exhibit a quilt, right? A bed without a quilt is like a sky without stars. And this flips up. And I just made this little paper clip. So this one, believe it or not, was a little difficult for me as well. And I don't know if it's because I am a quilter, and before I started crazy quilting, I did sane quilting for years. And I don't know if it's because of that. Like, I just really wanted to do a lot more with this journal than what I was getting paid to do. So it was kind of frustrating. So the fabric of friendship is stitched with love, because I just kept wanting to really go all out, and I had to keep reining myself in. Did some stitching here. I made this ruffle. It is impossible to be sad when you're holding fabric. That is true. Some journaling spots. This is from my private collection, and I just love it. It's actually on a postcard, and the actual photograph is really tiny, and I scanned it and enlarged the image as much as I could, because I knew that there was an antique crazy quilt behind this baby. I don't know. You guys can see that? Isn't that cool? I mean, oh, I wish I could see that quilt now. Anyway, here's a tag that's also a crazy quilt. And it's really funny because I was a quote-unquote sane quilter for years, meaning not a crazy quilter. My husband lets me buy as much fabric as I can hide. And I really wasn't into crazy quilts when I first started sane quilting. You can't buy happiness, but you can buy fabric. This gal sitting in front of all this fabric. And I think because all the ones I had seen, all the crazy quilts I had seen were always like kind of dank and like just like men's suits, and there wasn't a lot of stuff to it. And once I saw like my first real beautiful crazy quilt, that was it. I was completely in love. I mean, I still seam quilt too. In fact, I just finished one. This is an envelope. It doesn't have anything in it. Some journaling paper. This is some stamping. I have a sewing stamp set. Some washi in here. This is also a stamp, and the main reason I bought it was because of the quilt pattern on the barn. I don't know, for those of you who aren't in the United States, that is a thing here. You drive through the country and people have their barns painted, and they'll have a quilt block painted on the barn. Not everywhere you go does that, but I've seen lots of them in person. A clean house is a sign of a broken sewing machine. That's just a pocket here. This is an old quilt block I had. I have lots of old quilt blocks that are just like orphan blocks. You know, they don't really go with anything. There's a piece of paper in here that matches this, and then I put this in here. So anyway, when I saw that stamp, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to have that, because I just think, you know, that's a really neat thing, you know, people painting their barns like that. I just think that's really cool. And I really tried to find, like, this kind of looks like a quilt pattern. I tried to find some paper that looks like it might, like this is all lace, torn lace on this piece of paper. So it was hard. I couldn't find a lot, and I thought I was really lucky over this piece here, and I've literally had this for probably 25 years. So here's another little envelope that I made. Oh, I think it goes in this way. Blessed are the children, for they shall inherit the quilts. My kids already have, like, they've all gone through and like, I want this one and I want that one. And okay, so this is from my private collection. So was the baby with the crazy quilt. That was also from my private collection. And I love this image. Look at that quilt behind them. And I don't know if it's actually quilted or if it's just the top, because look, it goes all the way down to the ground. It's huge. So whoever made it had to be just, I don't know which lady it was, had to be just so proud of it. I would love to know what the colors were. I sew, therefore I squint. These phrases, by the way, were from Mrs. Cogs. I just thought they were so funny, and they're kind of funny because they, you know, against sort of the seriousness of the photos, you know. Anyway, or paintings, whatever. And this here is, I made these little things there to just tuck whatever you wanted to tuck in there. This is an image of, I can't remember what tribe, but he's a medicine man, and Native Americans, and he's draped in a quilt. It looks like a flying geese pattern, I think, which, I mean, how cool is that? I just thought that was really neat. Some more stitching. Old quilters never die, they just go to pieces. And I love this little whimsical look on her face. I just thought it just went so perfect with the phrase, you know. This is also a stamp that I've had for quite a few years. I made this ruffle. Let's see. And I had asked the person who commissioned it, I'm like, I don't know that I can find a ton of quilting things, so can I just put sewing in as well? And she said yes, so thank goodness. Because I did have trouble finding quilt ephemera and papers and stuff like that. So in this pocket we have, so this is a quilt from, I want to say the 30s or 40s. It's Misty Mountain. Is it Misty Mountain or Mist Mountain? Mountain Mist? I think it's Mountain Mist, which is a batting company. They make batting, which I think in Europe they call it wadding. And back in the 20s, 30s, 40s, they used to put patterns in the package of batting, and that was one of them. And here's a painting of these ladies at a quilting bee, and I love this. I'm just as shocked as you that I don't have all the craft supplies I need for this project. Oh my god, I just thought that was hilarious, because yeah, One day, my son came into my craft room and he said, "What are you looking for?" And I said, "I'm looking for a piece of paper." And I thought he was going to die. He was laughing so hard. He just was like, "Really? You need a piece of paper?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm looking for a specific piece of paper." There's a little paper clip that I made. Sewing is cheaper than therapy. And this one, if I sew fast enough, does that count as aerobic exercise? And these cards here are also Mrs. Cogs. Put a little die cut butterfly. This is not mine. I got that from the internet. There's a little tag here. There's also a tuck spot here. I just didn't put anything in it. Some sewing. And then over here, an envelope that I made. And I like this. This is how to take standard measurements. Which, you know, I mean, it's November 1899. But I mean, you know, that's information that's never going to go out of style, right? I mean, not out of style, but that you're never not going to need. And I loved this paper. It reminds me of a Lemoyne Star pattern. And then here's a tuck up here, and it says, "Of course I want to go ahead with the divorce. He used my fabric scissors to cut paper." I love this gal too. And I just look at the hand, you know that's hand quilted, and just look at that. That's just so stunning. Keep calm and grab the seam ripper. This is a tuck spot. I don't have anything in it. This image is from Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. These are really cool. This is like just like a copy and a print of embroidery work. Here's a quilting bee. They're quilting looks like a butterfly quilt. And then this is from my private collection. I don't know if the ladies are actually there to quilt or not, but I'm going with it. None of them have a needle in their hand, but that's okay. This is mine. This is from my personal collection, and I love that. What an old rustic quilt behind that. I would love to be able to see it better. It looks like there's some kind of a print here that's like Greco-Roman kind of pyramid, not pyramid, pillars. And there's some stitching here in the, you know, almost like it was a crazy quilt, but it's not a crazy quilt. Life is short, buy the fabric. And then here's another old quilt block I had laying around. And in here is, I love this picture of this lady with the dog. But yeah, she's got this beautiful applique flower quilt there. And this is from a crochet magazine from 1956. And then this one, there's another, whoops, another image of a quilting bee. I don't know. I can't tell if this is in focus. I hope it is. And then this image is a guy. This is a man. It looks like a soldier with a quilt that is really cool looking. I had to include the guys. And then this last part here I took 3 manila file folders and folded them. I decoupaged the front and the back. And then I just made this, like there's a pocket here and there's writing here. And then a pocket here and writing. And this paper is Medieval Mirage. And I just did that with the 3 of them, thinking that she could make kind of quilt notes, or, you know, this, you know, size of something, and maybe stick a picture in here or pattern that she tears out of a magazine or something. And then that's it. And then here's my Made by Sparrowhawker designs that you can't see because I had to put the lace on it. I'm learning. you know. And then that's the back of it with the super, super soft quilt block. So anyway, guys, that's that. I hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, the next journal is another Victorian Christmas journal, so I probably won't do a video of that. So the next journal video that you see from me is probably going to be a bee journal, actually, which I'm kind of looking forward to, the bee journal. And I might have another stitching video coming up pretty soon. So, okay, that's all. I hope you guys have a great day, and take care, and I hope you make something you love. Bye-bye.